Every scar tells a tale untold. Every breath makes the night grow cold. The hunter's heart and the prey's last rhyme all collide in the world of true crime. Truth is lurking in the lies they feed. Justice waits for those who breathe. Through the dark we'll trace the line. Welcome to the world of true crime.
Beneath the hollow moon, something ancient stirs. Fangs that drank from kings, eyes that remember the plague, and a hunger that never dies. They walk among us, and they're not in the stories to scare you. They're in the stories to warn you.
This is UFO Paranormal broadcasting on 105.3 FM, serving Mississippi and the Gulf Coast, and on 107.7 FM from New Orleans, Louisiana.
The Power Agency is built for those who move like predators, decide like weapons, and execute like their life depends on it. You're either fully in
Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward.
This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN, esoteric programming at its finest.
Our symbol, the trident, gifted to us by the priests of Troy Xenos centuries ago when one of the first monster hunting teams out of Corinth battled a contingent of Vrykolakas that had infested their temple. After the victory over the monsters, the head priest declared, "You are three lances acting as one, not unlike Poseidon's mighty trident of light. That would become our name, the Trident of Light, for the good we did and still do against the dark evils of this world."
Available at Amazon Books.
Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, ask questions, and see what chilling paranormal stories we're following.
Welcome to Paratruth.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging E.T.
I had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Welcome to UFO Undercover. I'm Joe Montaldo. How are y'all doing this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet? I hope y'all are all having a great time, whether you call it Earth, Terra, or Soul 3. It's entirely up to you. Well, I mean, different people have different names, but I'm sure as you get deeper into it, there's even more names for it, but I'm just going with the top 3 that most people use. I hope everyone is really having a good day. You know, a lot going on in our world, a lot of things to keep up with. Nothing for this show, mind you, except for alien stuff. But as far as the news stuff, you can catch us on News on the Flip Side on Friday. Think we might win an award this year for just being badasses in general. Don't forget the chat's here on Saturday, so you can catch the chat. It's always crazy and insane. And it's nuts. It's insane. I mean, really and truly, the show is just... It's actually the top-rated show, both in archives and in live listeners on this network. Actually, quadrupling some of the shows on the network. It's amazing because we talk about nothing and everything. Yes, we really do talk about nothing and everything. We talk about the war. We talk about chocolate chip cookies. I mean, you name it, we've talked about. So it can get a little crazy and a little wild some nights, and there could be some language involved, but it's a show that anybody can come on because we're going to talk about anything. What's that, Jesse? Yeah, we've talked about poll numbers. We've talked about polls. We've talked about swimming pools. We've talked about aliens. We've talked about paranormal stuff. We've talked about we've got into the Egyptian stuff, the Shroud of Turin, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, you name it, we've got into it. It's just a lot of fun of a show to do. No, we do a lot of everyday life stuff. Yes. Like I said, we also get into recipes. Of course, I'm the best cook in the bunch, but still, I don't say I'm the best chef in the bunch, but still, come by, take a listen, have some fun, check it out. No, I'm by far the best chef in the bunch. No. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them lie to you. I'm the best. Oh, hey, Jay, welcome, man.
Hey, what's
It's
happening?
I just what's that, Carly? No, I just hit him with an invite just to wake him up because he's probably napping.
No, I literally just got settled. I got home about 10 minutes ago, so had to do some stuff. But I'm here.
He sounds like me. He sounds like me. No. So news on the flip side is just what it says. It's news on the flip side. The first hour to 2 hours is usually news. Third hour, it depends what kind of mood we're in. It also depends on how the news has been. Like we'll be talking about Diddy this Friday. And there'll be a lot of Diddy talk. There'll be a lot of Trump talk. There'll be a lot of Democrat talk. There'll be a lot of that kind of talk. A lot going on with all three. So we'll get to hear. And by then, the rest of the case should be settled with Diddy. So we'll be talking about that as well. But really, none of that has anything to do with what we're going to talk about tonight. Alien abductions, or I should say alien contacts, because for a lot of people, they don't consider them abductions. They consider them contacts or experiences. Whatever word you want to use, like you know how I use the 3 different Earth words when we started. Well, yeah, it's the same thing with that. I mean, some people want to call them experiences. Some people want to call them abductions. Some people want to call them, well, you know, other things, but we're not going to say it because this is a G-rated show. No, it really is. Well, PG-13, but still, there's just so much out there. So, you know, I tell this a lot, and I'm going to start out with the story because I had a couple of emails about this the other day. Tell a story about the guys, the Men in Black. Tell a story about the Men in Black. Well, there's been several stories about Men in Black. But so this one, so anyway, not long after 9/11 happened, I was on a roof, putting on a new roof with my company. And they're up there doing their job, and I'm standing up there watching them and bitching and moaning like I always do. and you know, you ain't look right, fix that, you know, because you know you're charging people a lot of money when make sure it's right. No, this was a complex. This is a 40-plex. Yeah, so this wasn't just a little, you know, $50,000 job. This is way more than that. So anyway, we don't need to get into that. That was a long time ago and far, far many moons backwards. So I'm standing up there looking at these guys, and I'm dressed pretty decent because I'm not working. And I see this gray SUV pull up. Nice SUV. Looked like it might have been a Beamer or something along those lines. I think it was a Mercedes, actually. But anyway, I watch it pull up, and I'm like, okay, no biggie. Pulled up across the street, so I wasn't really, that worried about it. Then 2 guys get out of this thing in gray Armani suits. I could tell they were Armani from the frickin' roof. They had this sheen to them, like you knew right off the bat, this is a very expensive suit. And Armani has a certain cut to its blazers and its jackets.
Yeah, they're very tight.
Yeah, so I recognized it as soon as I seen it. So I'm like, what are these guys doing? I mean, you know, they're standing there looking, and the windows were tinted out in gray, by the way, not black. So I'm kind of like, okay. It's like a silver gray, actually. So they're standing, and the other guy walks around the truck, the SUV, and he's standing, both of them standing side by side looking up at the roof. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, one of these guys are in trouble with the Fed. And I'm like, all right. So I look at them, and I start pointing at people on the roof. And they're just, you know, shaking their heads. Like, well, it must not be us. I go back to what I was doing. Phone rang. I got on the phone. So I'm talking on the phone, and they're just staring like this face. I'm like, so I went and pointed at somebody else, and I went like this, and they went and like, oh, shit, what did I do? I said, I ain't done that with the Fed. I'm not in any trouble with the Fed. What the hell? So I climbed down this 30-foot ladder. I told who I was on the phone when I got to get off the phone, and said, if you don't hear from me back in 15 minutes, you get your ass over here.
I'm my lawyer.
Yeah, you go find out where I'm at, and I said you track down the GPS because you got that thing where you don't know where each other's phones are. So I'm like, okay, I get down the thing, and right as I step down, I turn around and I step on the curb. The guy unbuttons the jacket and pulls it over his gun so I can see his gun. So at this point, there's no doubt that these are somebody carrying a gun. Right?
Do you have Martha with you?
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything with me. I wasn't carrying a gun, and actually I was, but it was in the truck. It wasn't on me. So I said, okay. I was tempted to go to the truck. I got to tell you. So I go walking across the street, and like, what you gonna do, man? Kick your ass. I said, I'm special forces officer, I kick your ass. So I get up to the guy, and he looks at me. He goes, hey, Joe, I just wanted to congratulate you. You're doing a fabulous job with UFO Undercover. And UFO Undercover at the time was, I don't know,
You and Stephanie.
4 years old. Yeah, it was. Well, I was doing a show by myself and just guessed, but it was maybe no, it wasn't even before Stephanie. It was a baby. I mean, it was like 2 or 3, maybe 4 years old. So I'd been doing Wake Up USA. Is what I had been doing. I just shifted, in fact, shows right around this time period. So I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. He said, such and such calls in, and we know you don't like the caller, but he's kind of fun to listen to, and he's one of us. He's going, I'm like, one of y'all. And he's like, yeah, he likes to call in and ask questions. He likes to cheat in his questions. He said, you're the first ufologist that actually answers them. And I started laughing. He said, well, yeah, we've broken to many, many calls and many, many things, and they get all paranoid and freak out. And you're like, well, he said, I remember when you told Jeff, hey, wait, don't hang up on this guy. Let's find out what he wants. Yeah. And Alfred Weber was on with me that night. And Alfred was like, yeah, let's find out what they want. And so after that point, they were always breaking into conversations and asking questions. This went on for the 3.5, almost 4 years I was on that show. And so I'm like, so I'm glad y'all happy. I said, what do you want? And he said, well, you have been talking about the alien agenda, and we would appreciate it if you would stop. And I just looked at him like, why? I can't use the language I was going to say just now. It was an F and a U word. I'm like, what's the deal? He said, well, the other night, he said, I know you knew something was going on, because so Alfred Weber and I got in this conversation about this. And every 15 minutes, the internet would go down. But what I mean, the internet went down. It didn't just go down for me or Alfred, because Alfred was in BC. I was in New Orleans. It went down for everybody on it. So we were a worldwide audience. And this time we were around 160 countries. So somehow or another, they managed to knock the internet off and they did this every 15 minutes, as long as we talked about the alien agenda. And then finally, not Stephen Bissett, not Alfred Weber, Stanton Friedman called in, and a whole entirely different question about the hills. So then we switched topics, and then it stopped. So I'm sitting there, and the guy said, you see how easy it was for us to knock people off around the internet, around the world? I said, yeah, you were just using my IP to shoot people down. I said, I know exactly what you're doing. He started laughing. The other guy said, I told you. I said, that wasn't all that, that wasn't all that great as what you want to make it out to be. And he's like, and I was like, so what is this about? He said, we don't want you talking about it. So why?
Yeah.
He said, well, we just don't want you talking about it. He said, it's not that you're correct on everything. He said, you're correct on a lot of things, but some of the things you're not correct on. But regardless, we don't want you talking about it. And then he went to telling me where my son was, what he was dressed in, and what he was doing at the moment. And then he said, your wife's dressed in this really nice outfit, and she's sitting at the doctor's office in row number 3, chair number 2, waiting for the doctor. So I pick up the bleeping phone, call my wife. I said, what are you dressed in? I said, are you dressed in this? She said, how'd you know? I said, I said, are you in row 3, chair 2? She said, yeah. Like, shit. I said, I'll call you back later. Click. And she says, y'all drive a lot, Joe. And he started calling me Mr. Joe. He goes, well, Mr. Joe, y'all drive a lot. He said, at any given time, any rig could run you off the road and squish you, and nobody would think the lighter of it. I said, you better be careful. I said, I've been around for a while. I'm pretty popular in ufology, and, these people are very into conspiracy stuff. He said, that's why. He said, that's why a rig would accidentally run you off the road in the middle of the night, and no one would ever think anything about it. I said, well, son, he said, well, not enough people to worry about. And I was like, okay, I got your point. I said, so you're not going to threaten me. You're going to threaten my wife and my kids. You've beeping right. And I said, he said, we found that works much better. He said, besides just special forces, you probably kick my ass anyway. He goes, but I want you to know, we really do like what you're doing. We think, you getting out there and getting this out in the public and talking about these kind of things that no one else at the time was talking about.
People, yeah.
Nobody was talking about alien abduction back then. So he was like, we're just really happy that you're doing it, and we're happy you're answering questions. But
don't talk about this.
And so I said something to him about, the thing Alfred Weber did when I did, when he said it was 1.5. I said it was more. I said how it was 15%. He said it was 1.5 billion. And then the Australians wrote a piece on me, and I answered it back. He said, that's fine. That's in Australia. Nobody gives a shit about Australia. I was like, what? I said, I like. He says, not enough people down there to worry about it. He said, their science community's fine and all. He said, but you kind of kicked them in the head with your answer. He said, so I don't think they'll be answering you back. He said, so do we have a deal? I said, we have a deal if from time to time you throw me a bone. I said, you want me to stop doing this, and I want something in return.
Yeah.
He said, well, wait, I've just threatened you. I said, yeah. So you killed my family. I still want something in return. And he just looked up at me like, you want cold SOB? I said, no. I said, you're going to do this, and I'm just going to sit here like a cowering little puppy. I said, you know that's not who I am. I said, and if it's going to put my family in jeopardy, I won't do it. I said, but I want you to throw me a bone. So he hands me this card, and he tells me, he said, when this card glows, he said, we'll give it to you 3 times. We'll give you, and he gave me 3 colors, and he said, different times it's going to glow a different color, and he said, it's going to tell you where to be. He said, be there, and you'll get a bone. I was like, really? The first time it glowed was a day later, and it was a big bone. I had 15 people with me that night, too. I brought an army with me because I didn't trust these SOBs. And sure enough, we had an experience. We had a crazy experience. A good friend of mine, Jason, was there, who's passed now. A couple of other friends of mine were there. A couple of them actually have passed now. But then some other friends were with us. The whole night, we piled into 2 cars, a car and a truck. We drove 15 hours in fog all night. For some reason, everywhere we went was so foggy, you couldn't see the front of the hood of the truck. It was crazy. And then later in the night, all the girls are walking in front, all the guys in the back, and you hear them saying, stop that, stop that. And we're like, what are you talking about? Because, they kind of sounded dim to us. And we're like, stop what? We're like 30 yards behind y'all. So all of a sudden, Jason puts down the light with Mike, who's from Canada, and you see little footprints about
you almost said Canadian, didn't you?
Yeah, then you just start seeing little footprints just popping up, all over the place. And then you hear the girls criping, so they turned around with the flashlights and turned it. Well, they didn't see anything until we came walking up behind them, but they were seeing the footprints too. It was a crazy, creepy night. And then so we all decided there's this big, huge gazebo next to the military base. So we said, we'll go in a gazebo and sit down and smoke a cigarette, whatever else you wanted to smoke. We're not hating on anybody. So we sit down, we're sitting in there hanging out, talking. And Mike Canuck, he was from Saskatchewan, Canada, way the hell up somewhere in Canada. And he goes, I just heard him like scream like a little girl. I mean, it sounded like some little 9-year-old screaming. It was ear piercing. I looked up and said, what the f is wrong with you? And right as I said that, I turned, and right on the sidewalk, the whole sidewalk was glowing white. And you seen this gray just come out of it, like he's bebopping along, go up the side of the thing, up the post in the gazebo, into the top of the gazebo, and was just sitting there looking at all of us. Now, there were several pictures taken. Most of them were just gray blobs, but still, he was just sitting there, and we're all like, what the is going on here? And then the next thing I know, we're in Destin, Florida, which is 2 hours away. Actually, we were in Blue Mountain Beach, standing on the beach in a big circle, and there was and it was fog all around us except above us. It was a perfect circle of no fog. And we're all like, okay, what the bleep just bleeping happened?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were one place, and then we was another place. It was crazy insane. The whole night was crazy insane. And it was just what it was. It was an experience that, that they knew there was something going on. They are the whole reason we started investigating Eglin Air Force Base. They were the whole reason. Because after that, we realized there was stuff going on. And after that, we had many experiences there. And we sent other investigators there that had experience. It was a crazy place. That's the place where we found out that there was gain time and not missing time because of that whole system. So this is a great story, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a couple on vacation in Gulf Breeze, Florida. They were actually in Navarre Beach, Florida, which is down the road from Gulf Breeze. So there's a little Quality Inn right there on the back bay. It's just sitting on the bay, and across from it is a military base that's sitting on the sand, and across from and right behind the military base is the Gulf of America. So before anybody writes to me, I got it right. Anyway, so it's the Gulf of America, the base, the back bay, and the hotel. So it's a beautiful place. I've stayed there myself. It's a nice place to go hang out. So this couple, as usual, got in their car at the Quality. They left the Quality Inn. Now, by the way, we went back and checked all of this. So they left the Quality Inn, and at 11, I think it was about a quarter to 11 is what the camera clock said. They drive away. They get to the 7-Eleven. They're shift changing at 11 o'clock. We checked. That's when they shift change. So they were in the middle of shift change. So they were shift changing, and then they drove out and parked the car and walked down on the beach, where they proceeded to have some kind of weird experience. But regardless, what happened there, the cop came up, wrote the ticket for 10 minutes to 10. Put the ticket, you know how cars have a console in the middle? Yeah. Well, right there, the ticket in there. So it was in between the seat and the console. I guess it slid down in there. So I didn't even find this thing for like 3 or 4 weeks when they found it. That's when I got the ticket. So I called dispatch thinking, oh, it's an error. Bullshit. Dispatch said, no, it was 10 minutes to 10 when he called in the license plate on the car. And then on top of that, he called something else in the car for a stolen car. It was also about 5 minutes to 10. That's what the dispatchers say, both of them. So we're kind of like, so we go back and look at the videotape at 10 o'clock, and the car is not there. And this is what's so queer about this whole thing. So remember now, they left there at 11 o'clock to go there. Okay, but yet somehow another the car wasn't there at 10 o'clock. You're kind of like, okay. But then 10:15, the car was there. And there's nobody driving up. There's nobody getting out. The car was just there. You can clearly see it on the camera. It didn't drive in because they have cameras all the way around the place. It didn't drive in. And you could see because there was a camera right there in front of the car. No one got out the car. But yet the car was there and the car wasn't there. So, and then we have testimony from the clerk at the hotel and the clerks at 7-Eleven that they were there at that time at 11 o'clock. So wait a minute now. How can they be at their two places 2 different times? Now, we have tapes that never showed the car leaving at 10 o'clock or before 10 o'clock. Matter of fact, the car was parked at 4:44 in the afternoon, which I kind of felt was odd, and didn't move again until it disappeared right at 10 o'clock. Or a couple of minutes before 10 o'clock, it disappeared about 20 till. It disappeared at 20 till 10 and came back at 10 after 10. But then, of course, there's no driving in or anything. This place kind of got some turns you got to go through, so nobody there. But then, of course, at 11 o'clock, these people got in the car and drove down there and did all of this. So somehow or another, that car and those people were on that beach at 10 o'clock to get that ticket. And then we said, no, there has to be a mistake. Maybe the dispatchers got off, blah, blah, blah. 2 dispatchers, 1 cop, maybe somehow 3 of them were wrong. Well, we didn't find out until like 5 months after it. But the parks have cameras in them, hidden cameras, by the way. So we went and asked them if they had like the last 6 months, and they surely did. So we went back to that date, and you see that car there at 10 o'clock. You see that, and then you see it like blink out, and then you see that car there driving up at 11 o'clock. So the car was definitely there both times.
Wow.
But the first time it did not drive
your
there.
Car, though?
We can't say who that belonged to.
You don't know whose car it was?
I know exactly who it was. I know it, but we can't talk about that part.
Well, what I was getting at is, were the people who drove the car the people who owned the car?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was.
It wasn't a rental or anything. It was a personal car.
Someone, it's just some car thieves came by, drove it, used it, and came back and parked it. But they wouldn't. But that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. So at the hotel, you have to drive underneath the the place you would get out to register. There's 2 cameras there. Yeah. One's a license plate camera, one's a front back camera. And then there's another camera on a turn, and another camera in the middle of it, and then another camera right there by the room. So none of those cameras at 20 before 10 registered that car leaving. All you see at about 15 to 10 or 18 to 10 is like a blurry white bloop, and then it comes back on the cameras. The car's not there. But you don't see anybody. And the people, you can see that because of where the camera was, you could see if they came out of their room. They never came out of their room. Nobody ever walked up or approached that car.
That's so weird.
Then when you see the car at 10, at a little after 10 by the camera from the beach, there are two people standing next to the car. And it looks like the couple.
Huh.
And then they're not. So what it looks like is we have a little time going on here. There was a time differential of some sort. Either they picked them up when they did and brought them back, or they picked them up and realized they picked them up and put them down, and then they realized they made a boo-boo and picked them up and put them back at the hotel. But that's not what it seems like, because it seems like there was an hour of gain time. Not lost time, gain time. So what I'm thinking is going on, and this is just sheer speculation because of some other cases like this, it seems like especially the Greys have the ability to take you out of time. When they abduct you now, they take you out of time, and they put you back in time like 5 minutes till, or 10 minutes till, or 5 minutes after, but it's not missing hours and hours and hours. And the reason why is because the Greys realize that, oh shit, these stupid humans figured out how we're abducting them by missing time. There's a couple other things they've changed besides that, but missing time was a big one. They changed it because of us. Because we started realizing, and there's not that many missing time cases anymore. People try to say there is, and I'm very leery when somebody tells me they have missing time now. Very leery.
How about we coin a new phrase for it then?
Any phrase is good. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Time dysplasia.
Could be that. Okay.
Dysplasia is the definition of that is abnormal cells within whatever the main body is in the medical field, pre-cancer kind of cells. But abnormal time seems like what we're getting, because there's people that have that either been called an abductee or a contactee that have sworn to heaven and hell that they've gone into the future. People that have gone into the past. People say they've been abducted at your story here, abducted at 10 o'clock p.m. but returned at 8:50 p.m. an hour and 10 minutes prior.
Yeah, so that's what it really sounds like. It sounds like they were abducted at 11 and put back at 10.
Yeah.
And then they somehow or another, the Greys must have realized, maybe after the cop came, the Greys like, something's not quite right here.
I know what happened.
And put them back at the hotel.
They forgot to spring forward. It had to have been they didn't put their Eastern Standard Time settings on their watches, and they forgot what time they took.
No, I don't know, but it's not the only case like that. There's been other cases.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's.
One of my favorite one is. So this is one of my favorite cases. So this lady's a good friend of mine, by the way. She actually used to be a director before she ended up with 5 kids. But anyway, enough about that. So she used to go to work every morning. She was pregnant, like big pregnant. I used to pick on her all the time. Her belly was twice the size. I'm like, God, girl, what, you got 5 kids in there? And every morning, and this is like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, she'd stop at this little place and get this nastiest chili cheese dog you have ever seen. Chili cheese, onions, sour rice.
It's a nasty chili cheese dog, and you know that.
And she's just she loved these things. Yeah. So she calls me one morning, Joe. She says something's screwy. She's like, what? She said, I stopped and got me one of them chili cheese dogs this morning. I said, you nasty bitch. It's exactly what I said. I said, you're even pregnant. She goes, yeah, and the shop don't exist anymore. I'm like, what do you mean the shop doesn't exist anymore? She said, the shop doesn't exist anymore. And she said, I arrived to work 1 hour earlier than I left. I'm like, wait, what? She said, yes, Tom got this nasty chili dog. It was really, really good. I'm telling you, it was delicious. And she said, when I got to work, it was 6:30 a.m. I was like, what? She said, oh, yeah, I documented the whole thing. She said, I'm like, so first off, I'm like, okay, why what's with the chili dog? So she was definitely out of time.
Trigger memory.
She was yeah, but she was definitely out of time. She said because she tasted it was all real, and she said, and then I'm sitting at work. She said the funny part was the janitor said, "What are you doing here, Miss Such and Such?" She said, "Oh, you don't have to be here to work for 2 hours." She said, "Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about it's like going to school without your shorts on or something. It's somehow or another." And I thought, okay, and then I thought, well, maybe that chili dog was in her head. Oh no, the bleeping wrappers in her car with chili all over her steering wheel and her thing. So she got the chili dog.
Well, so they took her back in time to when the store was still there, and she got the chili dog and ate it. And
it sounds like, and I can't swear by this, it sounds like as they were getting ready to pick her up, time must have been phasing, and she stopped and got it, and then it kept phasing. And as long as she was eating, I guess she was on board the ship. And then when they set her back down for correction, it was 2 hours before everything started. I was like, actually 3 hours before everything started. Don't ask me, people. It's weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, with just talking about those few time stories, we've had several shows on this. When did the aliens arrive? Who arrived first? What years? If you go by Sitchin's time frame, the Anunnaki arrived 450,000 years ago. If you go by the Greys timeline, they arrived. The Anunnaki arrived.
Stitchin needs to say some of them drugs he was on.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff. There's some good stuff in there. I don't want to hate on everything, but
the thing is that I think he's on to some things. But going back to the time travel thing, all of those alien races can travel through time. They could have arrived here yesterday and gone back in time 450 million years and watched the whole planet.
I'm glad you
all of the evolution, and they could have those records because there are at least two stories, and I don't remember where. All of my library is destroyed, but there's at least two abductee contactees who have said that at least the Greys and possibly the reptilians have shown them footage of dinosaurs from our planet more than 65,000 years ago.
It's funny you say that because when ICAR put the question, so I know, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have heard me talk about this before, but ICAR does this weird thing where we'll take 50 to 75 contactees that don't know each other, give them a question, and when their abductor picks them up, depending on where it may be, the question's beamed into the abductor's head automatically because the person's been reciting it in their head. It's like when you're training yourself for a test at school or something. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So when you see the Gray, you're thinking, okay, time travel. Well, a lot of times the Grays, and I don't want to call them stupid, but sometimes they are, they just poop into your head without thinking about it because their whole society is telepathic. So they communicate like that all the time. Matter of fact, they're walking down the street.
Information. You know everything in all of their heads all the time.
It's a free-flowing, freestyle form of information. So sometimes they just answer now. What's funny about the Greys is, especially the Greys can act all like proud papa, like, oh, look at my contactee. Or there can be a severe punishment for it, depending on what the question was. That's why over the years we've tried to keep the questions to where we didn't think they were going to do it. But anyway, so the Greys basically said that the other races are not allowed to time travel because if they were, there would be a big bleeping mess because all the races would be screwing up time all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that makes sense to me. But
somebody is.
So they did say that I forgot what they called the Empire, which was the reptilians. I recognized part of it when they said it. Were allowed to travel what he called limited time travel along their family line. Now remember, when the reptilians only abduct, so do the Greys and humans, they only abduct through family lines.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, let's say that the reptilian family line was George Bush or Ronald Reagan or some queen or emperor. So they can abduct along that family line. So there's lots of things that they can learn, that the individual can learn. And let's not forget the reptilians especially have, what do you call it when their memory is transferred to the next person?
Genetic memory.
Genetic memory. So they have that as well. So this is where it gets real confusing. So let's say Jay's out, la 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 la, and all of a sudden he gets picked up, and part of his genetic memory kicks in. Now for Jay, this is as real as anything in his life. But is it really time travel, or is it just a memory from another person time traveling? That's where it gets iffy, sticky, iffy at. And there's no way for us humans to really know because our brains aren't quite designed that way yet.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's just no way for us to tell the difference. So I've always kind of had to question any time time travel when it comes to the reptilians because of that one thing. Because from what I understand, they don't like to share with humans on that level. It's not that they, and by the way, the reptilians seem to be the most willing to share with humans, the most willing to give us access to the libraries and treat us the most like family. The Greys treat us more like pets, and the humans still kind of treat us like the distant trash cousins that they don't want to invite home to their mama.
With the Greys, though, you say pets. There are some abductee contactee stories where it's not pet, it's pest.
Yes, and it can be that way too. No, it can be that way
too. Family line with whatever their experiments.
Yes, because sometimes family lines, especially ones that over generations have realized that I am being taken, and you're 6th, 7th, 8th generation, and now that knows the Greys are taking you. You're going to be trying different things. You're going to be pushing the envelope with your psychic abilities. And sometimes the Greys like it, and sometimes they don't. And there can be serious consequences when they don't. I mean, they can really screw your head up, or worse than that. So, I mean, and these experiments are dangerous when we do these experiments, but they have to be done because it's the only way we're going to find out what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm. And their minds are so powerful, the Greys anyway, that
they are.
They can force your brain to think, believe, and feel anything they want you to. If anyone has seen the episode called "The Cage" of the original Star Trek series, it's the original pilot that Gene Roddenberry made to start the show, and he shopped it around to everybody, and only NBC said, "We like it. Here's some more money. We want you to redo it. Lose the guy with the ears and get rid of the female first officer."
Yes, and get rid of the captain.
They didn't say that. They liked the captain. It was Jeffrey Hunter, who was a very famous and very popular.
He was, but in the end, they made him get rid of him.
No, they didn't. They didn't. What happened was that while Gene was shopping it around, Jeff got a job on another either TV show or a movie that would have interfered with the next phase of production for Star Trek. So he couldn't do the series. So they got Bill Shatner. But he kept the guy with the ears and made him the first officer, and he kept the female first officer, but he made her the head nurse of the entire 400 people ship. So
it was his wife, but he had to give her a good job.
At that time, she wasn't. He started an affair with her. Then he divorced his wife and married her, and had his son Rod Roddenberry.
We're talking about Majel Roddenberry, in case you don't know who we're talking about.
Major Barrett Roddenberry and Gene Roddenberry, and then their son is Eugene Roddenberry. So anyway, in that episode, the aliens, the Telosians, have these big bullum heads. They don't go back like that, but they go, like a big raisin up, and they have like fake.
More like the Greys' heads.
Yeah, kind of more like Greys, but not quite as accurate. But they have these veins that you see pumping on because they have these powerful brains, and they can make the Enterprise crew see and feel anything they want: pain, death, all of it. And that's what these Greys, the Zeta Reticulans, can do to our brains. They can make you think that they just ripped your arm off and it's bleeding, and really all it is an illusion that they forced into your brain. Your arm is still there. You just see, damage and splurting blood. It's not really true. But if they wanted to, they're also not the Greys, but the reptilians are strong enough that they can pull your arms out of their sockets and kill you that way if they like.
No, the Greys pretty strong.
To be honest with you,
they were talking about that not too long ago. A Grey dragging a reptilian down to the brown guys. The Greys are weird. They have some kind of weird power nobody under quite stands. We know they're cartilage, that they're not bone, so that gives them an advantage over everybody.
They probably use part of their brain power to keep their bodies from.
And I think when they're using their own strength, they're probably using part of that power as well too.
Well, if you've seen any videos of them moving, their knees go both directions. Their elbows go both directions. Their wrists go both directions. They have.
They're definitely. Yeah, they definitely considered to be all some type of cartilage, which means they came from a different type of environment, different type of gravity.
Or it's a specifically engineered type of bodysuit that they put their brain into to operate in specific atmospheres or.
Well, according to them, the light beings changed them a long time. But when you hear them stories about the light beings,
significantly, it sounds too.
oh no, they were significantly changed. But when you hear those stories, it always sounds like it happened yesterday, but it's like 50, 60, 70 million years ago. As a matter of fact, if the people who have actually been to the council say it's more like 240 million years ago. That's when all the major wars were going on. That's when the other galaxies showed up. I mean, the light beams showed up. I was like, it's just it's hard for us as humans to grasp a time frame like that. It's not for the Greys, reptilians, or the humans, because they live longer and they can enforce themselves to live longer by changing bodies. And the light beings seem to just live that long. So,
well,
but for us,
at some point, energy does lose its cohesion, I guess. So they do eventually, I think, pass out, or pass away. But they probably just change into something else.
Think of it like this: they came.
All stars is basically immortal.
So they came from a galaxy that had already been dead 2 billion years, had to cross the expanse to get here. God knows how long that took. They're in an age that we just don't quite. They're kind of like the cute that never die.
We don't even know how fast they can move. It could be an instantaneous move for them.
And that could have been. I thought about that a lot of time. Was that just a blink? And everybody's like the distance. I said I don't think distance counts on that kind of stuff.
I think if you're universal type of
if you're up nuclear super being, you might be, because look at the Q. The Q just blinked they were anywhere.
Boom,
it didn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't. Now I've never seen them jump to another galaxy, but that doesn't mean they can.
True. Like that didn't. They have.
But what's funny about the galaxy they say they came from? This thing is way, way, way far away. I mean, it's way far away, and so. What bothers me about this story is not the fact that they got here. It's how they found us. Or why did they find us? Were they looking for this galaxy for some reason? Well, or maybe because they said there was so much war and chaos, they were just drawn here. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing right now. I mean, because they did say when they arrived that the whole entire, how did they say it? The entire galaxy that was over some certain point was at war. The whole galaxy. The only places that weren't were planets like ours, which were like cavemen back then, or not even shit. We didn't even exist back then. Dinosaurs existed. So I mean, this, and it didn't, and that's what I think they said, because they got here, and even though as powerful as they were, no one would listen to them. They wouldn't stop. So they took the Greys, which there was the first race they found, by the way. The light beings, that was the first race they ever found, was the Greys, way completely on the other side of our galaxy, and transform into the Greys that we know today. So we don't really know what they were back then. They might have been little ant people as far as we know. We have no, and then since then, they've been all those years since then that they've been evolving. We don't know. All we know today is they freaking super omnipotent beings that shouldn't be screwed with. That's all we know. We know that technology is way better than us.
Possible reason they found us is we know that there are some very bad happenings in our solar system. There's a destroyed planet, atmospheres are missing, weird stories of large planets blowing through the inner planets and causing chaos. So perhaps there was a war that caused destruction, or perhaps the war caused some sort of cataclysm that, they blew up a solar system and planets went everywhere, and they're now in far-reaching parts of our galaxy fixing solar systems that they accidentally or on purposely destroyed. That's one of my theories. Is that why?
Yeah, that's who else?
Why
That's
else would they be here for so long? I mean, they're either.
I can't think of the guy's name. So that's somebody else's theory too.
Yeah.
See, I've always said since I got into the field that the asteroid was a fifth planet, and when it blew up or whatever destroyed it is what caused Earth, Mars, and Venus to go all at the same time. It's at approximately the same time, I should say.
Except for the fact that Venus is from another solar system. It spins.
It doesn't matter if it is or it isn't. It was still probably here when all this happened.
I think it may be part of the reason why it's here, right? Is that the damage that was maybe part of how.
And it may have been as Earth was crossing over from the Sagittarius galaxy in this one, it may have been a planet that was either here are being drug across with it from another solar system. Remember, people, there was major chaos here. Our scientists don't even know how to understand this yet. So right now, Milky Way's eating like 5 different galaxies. The biggest one is the Sagittarius galaxy, and it's close to us. It's like, actually, when you look at it, it's like above us on the other side of the spiral arm, which means it could have been injecting crap down here for however long. It's going to keep doing it. It's not even over yet. That's where you think all these red dwarfs that are surrounding Earth came from that gap. This is what cracks me up. I'm listening to scientists that are, I don't think that's where Earth came from, but I do think all these red dwarfs did. Well, the red dwarfs are completely surrounding us. There's no way we could have got here if we didn't come along with the red dwarfs, because we'd have got crushed by them. Sometimes you just because scientists want to have a popular thing instead of a proven thing. It's just ignorant.
They can be. So for an example of our solar system, all the planets rotate this direction, counterclockwise. They're going counterclockwise. Venus rotates clockwise, the other direction. But what's weird is all the planets, including Venus, they're in a straight pin, and they spin. They don't wobble. Earth is tilted like 27 degrees, and it wobbles as it spins around the Earth.
And we're pretty sure we know why Earth is tilted now.
Wait a minute. Even weirder than that. It's either the planet Uranus or one of its moons. Instead of spinning like this, straight up and down, it spins this way counterclockwise and then goes around the Earth. It's on its side. Something knocked it over. It's like a billiard game. A cue ball. Something came through this solar system, knocked one of Uranus's moons or Uranus itself to its side. Maybe created the red spot on Jupiter. Definitely destroyed the 5th planet. Definitely destroyed the 4th planet. Definitely knocked into the 3rd planet. Perhaps depositing the second planet, Venus, and then going on into the sun or wherever else it went. Something came through this and caused a lot of destruction, whether it was a war, a spatial body, or just random universal chaos.
That's the sad part. It could be any of those. That's the sad part.
Could be any
well, the latest theory is that something pushed the moon here, and when the moon hit the Earth, it kicked it up on its side. And they now have a location where they think it might have hit, it would have caused it to kick up on its side. So that maybe
the Pacific Ocean is probably the place where a large space body hit the Earth, because something did hit the Earth.
Yeah,
that's where the gouge is the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
it's the deepest part of the planet. It has to be that place.
Yeah. Well, some of the mountain lines match up with some of the crater on the bottom of the ocean. So that's possible that it hit us. It was pushed into us because it had to be moving to hit us.
See that phenomenon when you look at a cloud and you see Mickey Mouse or a train going into a tunnel.
Oh no, they didn't do it like that. They did it with whatchamacallit, LiDAR. They measured it. So they measured the different places. So they say
moon mountains from here, but
well, no, it's not that. If you took the moon itself and tilted it and slid it down, it would fit in the Pacific Ocean, and the little line they're talking about would fit perfectly into the ridge. They think that's where it came. They're almost positive that's where it came from. But ladies and gentlemen, let me say this now. I don't. How can I say this? I don't think it actually ripped away from Earth. I think it was smashed into Earth, then ripped away from Earth. So it probably broke into pieces, and the bottom part was just pulled out when it went. And then we would have just kicked over sideways.
Velikovsky's theory is Earth is standing straight, is spinning. It's not wobbled yet, and whatever creates the moon hits the Earth, and then splinters off, and then comes back around on its next year at almost the exact same time, probably even almost the exact same spot, hits Earth again and tilts it, and then leaves the bulk of its molten core, which gave us our magnetic atmosphere, and then whatever else was left of it, Velikovsky says that became its own disk, and then became the moon. The problem with that theory is that the rocks on the surface of the moon are from the deepest interior of it, and none of it is a match to any rock or soil on Earth.
Earth, that's right.
None of it is a match.
That's why your boy said it came down and hit it, and then was pushed back out intact. The bottom of it was intact. The top was destroyed, which would have left nothing on our planet. So the problem is we've got an issue that our moon is not related to us. The rocks are related to us, but it's not the time frame isn't related to us. So it's screwy, people.
There's literature ancient literature that speaks of a time before the moon, before it got here. How can that
Yeah, well,
possibly be? It's only
that can't possibly
years
be,
old.
because anything that big hitting us would have killed everybody on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything on the planet. It would
Those
have
stories
melted the
happened
planet.
afterwards. So maybe that's why they're here. They're fixing it because their moon crashed into Earth and killed fledgling
No,
society.
and then are you sure it's a moon? The damn thing rang like a bell twice now.
More than that, actually, it rang like a bell after every Apollo mission, starting with.
Well, no, they're talking about the test things. So
No,
y'all, one of the mirror
everything
sets.
that landed on the moon, it rang when they dropped their equipment when they left the moon.
Well, that's why they were doing it. So with Apollo 12, they decided that they needed to test this new system they put up there. So they just crashed it in, because all their plans was to shoot it into space, but they crashed it and it rang like a bell. So all missions after that, they crashed in to see if they would ring like a bell. And sure enough, every time it rang like a bell.
And they landed on different spots every time.
Every time, except on the dark side. They were too chicken shit to go on the dark side. All because they couldn't talk to themselves.
Allegedly, they did with Apollos 18 and 19, and then Apollo 20 allegedly went to Mars.
Well, I would have thought that, but since there's no way for them to talk to anybody on NASA, I don't think they went there. So the only way that you can talk to somebody on the dark side, you have to have a satellite set up, a relay satellite. Well, no, people, the way it's set up. And wait a minute. Thanks to the Chinese, we now know the surface of the backside of the Mars is nothing like the other side of the moon. The backside of the moon is nothing like the front side.
It's a different color.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Plus, it's covered in helium-3, just covered in it.
Well,
they don't know what the hell this is about.
You have to break it and manufacture it. But yeah.
So was it the number 4 one found one place where it was dust about yay thick, and all it was helium-3. It was a helium-3 dust, I guess, where different asteroids have been pounding it and crashing it. And then
iridium in it too.
Then they found some glass somewhere, which they were really confused by, in the bottom of a crater, which I don't know what they were so confused about. Sometimes things get hot and liquidized glass comes out of it. I mean, you see that with volcanoes. But the problem is
impacts on this planet that have what are called, as a result of the impact of Earth, a formation of mineral called tektite. Basically, what that is the native bedrock is flash boiled by the meteorite hitting the Earth. It's sprayed out like water, and as it cools in the air, it forms little droplets like eye drops or droplets from a bottle dropper, and then it's a little black piece of glass, and it's formed naturally by the meteorite.
Yeah, whatever these were pretty big. I mean, because you could see them from way up. But what the worst part was, they found another crater where they thought they found some more, and the shit started flashing. And then what is that? What's that other Zero? What's the one that starts with the C? The kind of subplanet, protoplanet, whatever you want to call it.
Ceres. Ceres. Ceres.
The one, yeah, they found the light on that they can't explain.
Ceres has a blue light on it.
Yeah, well, they found other things on it recently that makes it kind of wonder. And then, one of my favorite pictures is, so this thing's going over the ice planet, and they're like, ooh, it's cruising along. And you see something under the ice do this number. And you're like, what the hell was that? That looked like a freaking whale is what it looked like. So they're thinking they definitely think the ice worlds are going to find life on. They think they're going to find life on Pluto. They finally admitted to it. They think they're going to find liquid water on Pluto too. They think they're going to find liquid water on Mars. They're going to find life on Mars. People, you're going to find out that life is not the exception to the rule.
They also are probably going to find out that there is an alien base on not only the moon, but on one of the moons of Mars, one of the moons of Jupiter, one of the moons of Saturn, and Ceres, and one of the moons of Pluto allegedly have bases.
We're going to find out. Well, we know something was on Mars, because you see that Russian probe. That Russian probe's coming around. All of a sudden, you just see a blast of light, and the Russian probe just looked like something out of a movie, people. It was crazy.
Yeah, like 2010, when the guy goes over the and just kicks.
Oh, you can see it for yourself. The video, the video is still available. You can find it. the Russian satellite that the Russians were sending. Now, which one of the moons was? I can't remember, but it's as it was going around the moon. Sure enough, it's the bigger moon.
3 or 4 good frames from NASA. Was it Voyager 1 that went to Venus? Right before it malfunctioned, ceased functioning, there are 2 or 3 frames of a very long, miles long, cylinder UFO outside the atmosphere of Mars.
Yeah, probably sucking up energy
between the spacecraft and Mars, which means it was a physical object.
Yeah, I was listening to a scientist a while back. He was talking about these things you could build that would be a quarter mile long. You just drop them out in the atmosphere, in the polluted atmosphere of Venus, and just let them start pumping it into space. He said the sucky part about that is if you could just build a hose all the way to Mars, you could terraform 2 planets at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the gases on Venus we need for Mars, and we need them off of Venus so we cool down.
We could, instead of venting it into space, we vent it into a carrier, a tanker, take the space tanker and go to Mars and siphon it into the atmosphere.
They were saying that what they need is some kind of shielded system that can run between the 2 planets, and they can carry it. But no, people, Venus is never going to be like Earth is. It's always going to be hotter because it's much closer to the sun. But it is inside the inhabitable zone.
Yeah, it is. If we have the transporter, which some whistleblowers allege that we do, why not transport it from Venus to Mars?
Well, last time I heard the legit stories about the transporter, we were up to, well, the one in Britain went to 5 kilometers. The one in Australia was like 15 kilometers. The one in the United States is classified. They didn't say what it was. But before people get all carried away, it was taking blocks of data and sending that back and forth. And then they decided, because I forgot what they called it. It was a cube of DNA, I guess is what it was. And they sent it from one location to the other location intact. Doesn't mean you can send humans, but what it does mean is they could send food.
Yes, or they could make a device that takes energy and turns it into food.
Yeah, so they're just playing with this. We won't see this for another 50, maybe 100 years, but it's definitely on its way. We'll definitely see this technology in the next 50, 100 years. And you never know. Sometimes if a bunch of countries get on it at one time, you might see it a lot faster. China is on the world.
If we did the John F. Kennedy challenge like he did in 60 or 61, where he said, let's send a man to the moon in this decade. I'll bet you if we put that challenge out worldwide, not just in the United States, worldwide, we'd have transport and replicator technology within 15 years, and we'd probably have viable near Star Trek level space travel within our universe, or within our solar system rather, within 20 or 30.
Yeah, well, Elon's going to Mars.
Working together though, which is going to be impossible.
Well, no, Elon's going to Mars, and he's got Artemis going to the moon for NASA. China's all over the moon. So this is what they're trying to do. China's figured out that the moon is the next Middle East. So there's enough helium-3 now. Scientists all agreed on this. Didn't matter what scientist you ask, they agree on this. There's 10,000 to 100,000 years of energy for the entire planet sitting on the moon. Cheap, clean energy. Doesn't pollute, doesn't cause problems. It's cheap and clean.
But what if that moon belongs to a hostile alien race who will defend that helium-3 with all of our lives?
Well, they haven't yet. They haven't
started taking it yet, though. So we start taking it, and they may not. What if it's their same? What if it's the same energy they use? What if it's their food?
It's our moon, man. We'll be like, get off our freaking moon, buddy. It's ours. It's inside of our orbit. Get the hell out of here. It's like Cuba. It belongs. We may let Cuba play with itself down there, but it actually belongs to us.
I'm not sure how well it's going to go over with a billion-year-old society who can erase us with a thought.
Well, we'll stick the Greys on their ass. The Greys ain't gonna let them mess with you. Hey, look, Bob, you messing with me? Hold on, let me get to Mr. Gray over here. Oh, wait, you're friends with the Greys? Oh, never mind. You can take as much as you want, man. Have fun. Oh no, we don't need it. No, get out of here. Yeah, well, you want us to help us to get it down there? Yeah, we'll get it down there for you.
We brought extra. Take as much as you like.
Yeah, yes, we don't. And then I say, and if you don't like that, our cousins are the reptilians. Oh shit, we're out of here, man. You just have a good time with this moon. We don't exactly know how it got here in the first place. It escaped. We saw it escaped. It was a mining moon. It escaped, Shit happens sometimes, but I want to know what's inside that bitch. If it rings like a bell, it means it's hollow. I want to know what's inside of it.
Well, some of the theories of why the dirt and debris on the outside is older than is like it's more the older stuff than the newer stuff on the top is because that basically the entire moon was cored out, and where do you put the rocks and stuff you core out of the
That
middle
might
of
be
the
why we're finding helium-3 dust, which leads me to believe that those aliens don't need helium-3. They're using something else.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe the helium dust is a byproduct of their engine system. Who knows?
Yeah, it might be. It's what's that, Janine? No, I mean, we know there's lots of helium-3 on the moon now. So, in case y'all didn't know that you cannot own property in space. The UN passed that law a long time ago. This is going to cause a problem when China and the United States start mining areas. Oh, you can't own that, you know. So we're going to have to see that how that's going to work.
Any alien species that come along either. They're not going to follow that law.
Yeah, well, they ain't going to give a shit, but we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe I think the helium-3 was probably left there for us as our next phase in our evolution.
Perhaps.
You know, well, we're not quite ready for fission or antimatter yet. So, you know, dark matter yet. We're not ready for those kind of things. It's too much power for us.
We do have our hands on antimatter, though.
Yeah, we do.
We are able to produce it, and
we have it on
fusion
fission
for at least a 0.003 seconds or
I
whatever.
mean, we're building fusion reactors. So, I mean, we're there. I mean, actually, the reactors, from what I understand, there's already 2 built that could power New York indefinitely. And wait, that's the other best part. So you could use a helium-3 to produce fuel for those reactors. So
right.
one little piece, I'm not kidding y'all guys, one little hunk of fuel squared out like this could produce fuel in that reactor for 5,000 years. 5,000 years. And we're talking serious amounts of power. It's a different age. It's going to be a different world in the next 100 years. It's not going to be recognizable. But as Jay said earlier, everybody's got to get together and play nice, because with that kind of power, that comes unlimited destruction. I think that's why Elon wants to go to the moon, because he knows what's coming. Going to Mars. And then there needs to be a rule: no building on the light side of the moon. I do not want to see bullshit up on the moon. Okay.
Well, underground, they can go. We
Yeah.
can go underground.
Well, speaking of that, so there's a scientist who he found 3 magma tubes. He don't know where they lead, but he's pretty sure they lead to chambers where U.S. could set up colonies, because Mars wants to set them up on the surface. Yeah, you're going to die. You start setting up colonies on the surface of Mars. Now, most of what they're sending there is going to be robotic, but sending robotic stuff, it can be hacked or blown up or intercepted. You know, that kind of stuff. I don't know if how that's going to work out, but it's going to be another Middle East is what it's going to be. But the only participants are going to be the United States and China. Russia will try to get in there, but screw that. We'll squeeze them out. And so that's what that helium-3 is, just priceless for us. Be a new world. And maybe we can talk the Greys into just mining and sending it down here in its pure form for us. I doubt it. They're kind of lazy, actually.
Doesn't kind of like we were the first to put a flag on it. Doesn't kind of sort of make the moon
Technically, the moon belongs to us. And if we really wanted to start a war over, we could. We could say, oh, no, we've been there 7 fucking times. It's our moon. You don't like it. Don't land on it.
Right.
And China will say, oh, no, you only got the front side. The back side belongs to us because we landed there first. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. That's not how it works. When we set our flag in California, we took over California. Well, that's not exactly true. We bought California, but still.
Yeah, and we bought Alaska as well.
Yeah, well, we bought California, Utah, New Mexico, a whole bunch of them.
We bought New York with beads.
Yeah, we paid beads for the island. So a bunch of America was bought and paid for, man. Don't be telling us we stole it from the indigenous. We bought this crap. No, we'll talk about that on Friday.
Montana, we kind of forced them out with blankets and filled with.
Yeah, well, that's because we were evil. But we'll talk about that on Friday. No, Chris, we'll talk about all that good stuff on Friday. You can send it, but we'll talk about it on Friday. No, because it's see the title, it says UFO Undercover. So we're just talking about alternative fuels and why you might have weird things flying around. You know, you used to see way more UFOs on the moon than you do now. I mean, used to be more and more people talking about them.
Well, since there's a lot less UFO activity around the moon and Earth in general, so we did on other shows, we did talk about there is a slight lull from the late 90s through the 2000s on UFO encounters. So is there something up? Is there a space war looming? Is there something on the horizon that's going to
Yeah, but what's weird is abductions haven't gone down. Just sightings have gone down.
Just sightings have gone down, yes.
Well, which means that they're still doing it. They're just not. Well, you know what? Well, we also see that also proves my point yet again. Every time we talk about this, it proves my point about only contactees get to see UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
The problem here, ladies and gentlemen, is the big sightings like Mexico City. Mexico City, 22 million people. UFO hovered over the city for 24 hours. I mean, Stein filmed it. The mayor seen it. The police chief seen it. All kind of religious people seen it.
Only about 600 people filmed it.
Yeah, and so, but out of the whole 22 million, only 1 million seen it. Even though it was on TV and they were talking about it, still, the rest of the people went outside and looked at it and said, "Well, there ain't nothing there." You know, it's kind of like in that movie Signs when the bird flies into the side of one of them. That actually happened there.
Yeah.
So then you jump up to Phoenix. Phoenix, 2 million people in that city. Less than 14,000 seen it. Why is this?
And only a handful of people were even able to film it, including one of the news crews on one of the TV stations.
Yes, and one of our dear friends, Lynn Kitai, did it as well too. But she was. What was funny is where her house was like straight across from her. She was on the side of a mountain, so it was like this.
Yeah, she was
looking at. Yeah, she was looking at it head on, and still, it was freaking her. Well, think about this, lady. She was a doctor. Gave up her whole career to go do this. That's how much it changed her. You know, I know a lot of people like that. A good friend of mine who was an attorney. He had an experience. He gave it all up. Gave his house, divorced his wife, married a psychic, and became the orb master. It's actually what they call it. It's it changes your life. It transforms you when you have a real experience. A fake experience doesn't, but a real one transforms you every damn time. What do you mean my favorite abduction case? I couldn't talk about it. It's classified. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. So some things we can talk about, some things we can't. You mean in general? In general, it happens. Well, it happens pre-birth. So your mom gets taken and they take you out of the stomach and they examine you and they put you back. And they usually do this about 2 times, and then you're born. And then about a week or 2 after you're born, they bring you and your mom up and take a look at you. And this goes on all through childhood. And but they don't really do children anything, not until puberty. And then they do some kind of nasty stuff because that's when all the crazy experiments start. Regardless who's taking, that's when it happens. And then after about 30, 28 to 30, that all stops. And then it's either you're useful or you're not. And when I say this, if you're useful, they're going to keep taking you until you die. If you're not, that's it. You're not going to be taken anymore. Your kids will be, and your grandkids and everybody else, but you won't be. That's what happened to Darryl Sims. They quit taking him, but he kept taking his kids. That's why he became the alien hunter, whether he once admitted. And him and I had this conversation before I pissed him off, but he had to admit it in the end. I like Darryl, but I mean, in the end, that's what was going on. They weren't taking him anymore, but they were taking his son and his grandson. Because if you're not going to be a keeper or a communicator or something like that for them, then they don't need you. Go home and enjoy the rest of your life. Let it go out of your head. Don't worry about it anymore. It's not going to happen anymore. And that's usually 28 to 32. That's when that happens. But if you're one of the ones that are useful, like Uncle Michael down there, they're going to take you until you die. Mike likes to be probed. That's why they like him. They say he makes these weird screaming funny noises. I told him send me a copy of the tape.
Use the KY, man. Use the KY.
I said, send me a copy. I want to hear the voice. Send me a copy of the tape, man.
There ain't no rocket in my pocket, buddy.
What Rachel?
Yeah, I got a baby oil connection and Puff Daddy too. Woo!
Yeah, we're gonna talk about him Friday, man. We're gonna talk about him Friday. For sure.
Yeah.
It ain't quite finished yet, but we're gonna be talking about him Friday. And oh no, guys, no, we can't talk about the hit, ladies and gentlemen. But come by Friday.
No news
Friday.
today.
Yeah, Friday. It's not even finished yet. So come here Friday and we'll talk about it, and we'll get in great detail. It's way more fun on Friday because we have no restrictions to hold us back. Yeah, here we have lots of restrictions. Denise, you mean why would you be taken if you were in a family? So if you're being taken somewhere in your family line, probably your great 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 great, I can't even go that many greats. A grandmother or father was taken, and since then they take the family line. That's how they abduct in family lines, and it's easy to prove. It's not even hard to prove. If you look at the population, you can tell. Plus, we know now that they prefer RH negative. Well, not prefer, but that's how it works out. The majority of them are RH negative. We even know where to look now. Oh, before anybody gets thinking they're free because they're RH positive, no, they still take you bitches. They just take about 35% of y'all, that's all. Whereas they take about 65% of the other guys. It's a different thing. What do you mean, is it true? Yeah, it's true that RH negative doesn't share genes with Reese's monkey. But RH positive does, yes, it's true. But does it mean anything?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
We don't know, but it does mean something.
Yes, it means you're an effing monkey and he's not.
Yeah.
So when somebody calls you a monkey for real now, you can say, damn, he's right.
Yeah, one's a monkey, one's a grade 8. There's the difference.
It's well, it could be the other ones aren't from here. Or it could just simply be the genetic engineering or whatever the hell they're doing. We do know that RH negative seem to be more telepathic than RH
they're
positive.
definitely after something with our genetic lines, whether it's the Kwisatz Haderach from Dune or they're trying to fix some genetic catastrophe within their own societies. Who knows?
Let's see, we know RH negative people are more telepathic. We know that they're a universal donor. We know that their blood's cleaner and purer. I don't know. And it's a mutation. How can it be a mutation and be better for us? Yeah, see, that shit don't work. Plus, we used to kill babies until we figured out the gene, so it doesn't do that anymore. How did it, Mother Nature would have never even thought like that. She would have never made something like that. This would have had to been a race that said, okay, these stupid humans will sooner or later will figure out how to fix this. But remember, this was around for at least 50,000 years, killing babies before anybody figured out how to fix it. And still, it gained 15% of the population. Actually, probably about 18% now. How the hell did it do that? I mean, how many babies were these freaking people having? Oh, I don't know.
Today is World UFO Day.
Yeah, the World UFO Days.
I mean, if you're running a genetic experiment on an entire species of a planet, and you get bad results, that's why you introduce something that kills the babies at a certain part of the in utero process. So maybe that's why they had that they forced that gene in there.
Today is July 2nd. It's World UFO Day.
No, I forgot all about that, man. Yeah, you know what? I forgot all about that.
Well, happy World UFO Day.
Happy Crazy People's Day. What is this? Okay.
It's cool. People come and telling stories. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's interesting.
We don't know what's going to actually come out of all of this. Hell, me and you and him probably won't even be alive when they finally figure out what the hell's going on. But still,
we'll be
it's interesting to talk about.
Just brains in a jar. That's all. Feed us.
I see. If you were Stephanie Benetti, I would know it because Michael would be bouncing around in his house right now. No, that's how I would know. You'd be torturing because that's how she is. No, and that's mean to say that she's been passed now for almost 2 years.
Leave Stephanie at it. How dare you?
Yeah, you leave her alone. She's doing whatever she's doing. She might even be back by now.
She'll go and
well, she might be back now. She might have already come back to this crazy place. Who are you? Yes, she does have a sister. No, I never met her sister. No, sorry. She also got a mom. You better stop screwing around when her mom kick your ass. It's I'm serious. Your mom kick your ass. She don't play.
Yeah, you don't mess with Staten Island people. They're unto themselves.
That's right. They cranky SOBs.
New York State doesn't want them, and neither does New Jersey, which is kind of it's kind of sad because It's really Jersey if you think about it. If you look at a map,
Yes, Mike's just letting you know you're the floating turd in the
you know how
bay.
much that bridge is like $22 to pay to get over the Verrazano Bridge.
Yeah.
They don't want people going to Staten Island.
What
you got to
ripper.
pay to get out.
Chris, it's rare to hear about a sighting on Staten Island. Now, ghosties, that's different, but UFOs, no, I don't really get that many reports from there. Actually, I don't get that many reports out of New York. I figure that ET's figured out most people in New York, well, are not really brainiacs.
Well,
Money,
and the ones you do get are upstate New York, not
yeah,
necessarily.
well, that's true though. Hudson Valley, above Hudson Valley, you get a lot of UFO reports up there.
Yeah, wasn't Whitley Strieber's first experience the communion one? Wasn't that upstate New York?
Yeah.
And there is the unusual abduction case of, I think it's Brooklyn, New York, in the city, and some people said I've heard them talk about this story in the daytime, some at nighttime, but allegedly a UFO comes to a tall building, allegedly an apartment building, shines a light in the window, a female body floats through the window and into the ship, and the ship goes away, and then the ship comes back.
That's I can't think of her name now, but that's the report where the Secret Service guy, the ambassador and the two Secret Service guys saw it.
Witnessed
so
it
you've
from
got
the ground.
Yeah, you've got an ambassador and two Secret Service guys sitting, getting out the car when they look up and see this lady being taken to a UFO. Yeah, no, that's not Cash Landry's the one where they're driving down the road. I can't think of her name right now, but no, it's a well documented case. Oh no, both Secret Service guys ended up going wacko. Both of them, and one of the guys who witnessed Pascagoula, he ended up going wacko. I never did hear what happened to the ambassador. I know he had issues for a long time.
He probably was an ambassador on the next, ambassadorship.
Yeah, he probably wasn't. No, they probably fired. Oh yeah, you can't go around saying I'm an ambassador to the UN and I saw a UFO. No, you're fired.
No, I don't know if they can fire you, but it's an appointed position, 100%.
Yeah, so. No, I don't know, Claire. There's been sightings in UFO in New York. Though. There's the one Jay and I were talking about. There was the one they said turned out the lights on Wall Street. Yeah, that's the one that said it made the ticker things run backwards. Yeah, that's the one. It turned out the light, and then the stock thing started running backwards. Yeah, it was dropping down. Shit happens. UFOs have the ability to mess with a lot of electronics.
Well, I was just about to ask this question. We have several stories of missile bases in America where the machines were deactivated by alleged UFO activity. And then there's stories of similar missile bases in Russia where the missiles are activated to the point of almost launching before they're turned off. Would that be considered also an abduction? They took control of our weapons and they either turned them off or turned them off.
Well, I don't know if it'd be abduction, but it'd definitely be, hey, look, pay attention. But what's worse than that? We're probably okay with this. So a while back, I came across some information. So the U.S., just like Russia, we move our missiles around. They're not always in one place. And I hope I don't get in trouble for this. So they're we don't move them around in like guarded convoys.
They're moved by underground bullet train type technology.
They're moved around in everyday rigs with names like whatever happens to be in your area.
Unit, yeah.
it might be like Wendy's, or it might be McDonald's. It could be anything. But that's what they're moving around. Yeah, that's what they move them around in. And if you ever see like a group of them together, like Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, and they're all driving together, you can bet your ass he placed some missiles in there, man. Get away from that place. Yeah,
I can believe that because the U.S. government has and does abduct copyrights and patents. I told the story about my dad inventing this thing called Surtass, and the Navy, U.S. Department of the Navy, took Superman's S badge from his uniform, and they used it to identify this equipment on all of our T-AGOS space.
Oh yeah, they can use whatever they any copyright you have the U.S. government can use. It's clear. It says it clear in the copyright. It's part of their thing. But there has to be a reason why. But they can actually use it. But there was one. It was some ice cream company. They got they almost lost 2 nukes in this thing. They were ambushed. Somebody had told them about it. It was who is big ice cream chain. They down in Florida,
Dairy
all over
Queen?
the East Coast. No, I can't think of who they are. Dairy Queen serves food. They just serve ice cream.
Baskin Robbins.
Carvel. That's who it was.
Carvel. Oh, yeah, it's a good one. California.
And anyway, they somewhere out in Nevada, they were ambushed, and the 2 missiles were actually taken out of the vehicle, but there were actually U.S. helicopters that retrieved them. But it's not even the first time that's happened. But they don't like doing convoys because that's like a come get me.
Yeah.
You know, anybody desperate enough to go after 2 nukes is going to be well armed, and will be able to go out. This way, nobody knows where they are.
Motivated, I would think.
So they moved the missiles around to a certain place, and then all of a sudden these trucks to a warehouse, and these trucks just come in and get them. And nobody ever knows the whys. I mean, they've been doing this since we've been moving missiles. And I was always surprised about it. I learned about it by accident I used to take military hops when I'd go places, and sure enough, I'm like, this truck comes pulling up big red-headed Wendy's on the side. I'm like, what the? I said, we getting hamburgers delivered to the airplane? He said, no. He said, what is your classification again? He said, let me see your badge. And I showed him. He said, you're all right. Okay. Sure, everything backs up. This crawler thing comes down, grabs him, drags him up in the plane with it, sets him down. I'm like, is that what I think that is? He says, exactly what you think it is. I was like, oh, okay, nice to see that. I actually wanted to get out the plane after that. I was like, but then we flew to where we were going, and there was a who was it? Oh, the 10K people. Not that's who. What's the they make the drinks. Oh, what the hell? I can't think of their name now. You know, it's when you get hot and sweaty, you drink one of their drinks. It's like a Beatus water, but it's got all anyway.
Gatorade?
Yeah, Gatorade. That's what it was. It was Gatorade. There was a Gatorade truck waiting for them. They loaded it up on a Gatorade truck, and away it went.
Gatorade, come and get it.
No, I can't get drunk with Janine. That's like 40 years ago, boo. Yeah, they're not going to bother me over that. And if they're still doing it today, well, a lot of times they fly them around too. They'll load them on a plane, but they don't like doing that because 2 of them ones. You ever see that movie Broken Arrow? That's why they quit flying them around. Yeah, they don't like that. See the jets like giving them an opportunity to take it out the country. Somebody takes over the jet, and so they just move them like this, and nobody. That's not the only thing they move around like this. Have you ever seen a train or a truck marked nuclear waste material? No, you have not.
No, you have not.
Because they're on trucks like these.
Yeah, they're not going to advertise that type of stuff. That'd be crazy. You get highly motivated people that want to get a hold of that type of material.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shoot it up in a town or somewhere. No, they don't want you to know that stuff's going
or
anywhere.
Just take it and use it, like terrorists and whatever, man. I mean,
yeah. So
human beings are generally very easily panicky creatures, and that would. I mean, if especially went to California, they would probably have a hissy fit.
Yeah, so they move a lot of stuff around like that, and it works. I mean, it works, and we don't seem to have any accidents. And it's the way they do it, though. They make sure the things have been sent through boxes, whatever, into a warehouse. It's non-whatever warehouse, and nobody ever pays any attention. And they load them up with a thing, and away you go.
Probably lined in lead, so spying satellites can't see the radiation signatures.
Well, the reason I bring this up is there's been a couple occasions where they say UFOs have come along and just hung out over the top of the truck. Beam of light came down, and then they would stay there for a little while, and then they would leave. Sometimes the material would still be there. Sometimes the material would remove. Sometimes the material was transformed. They were talking about in one case where they were bringing stuff out to the WIP facility where we bring all of our non-nuclear waste. I mean, all of our nuclear waste, it's non-military. And when it got there, it wasn't nuclear anymore. It wasn't. It was dead. It had been fixed. They actually told them, "What the hell's that doing here?" No, Kirby. We have the WIP facility, which is a big, huge underground facility, and it's for like medical waste and stuff like that. The Yucca Mountain facility is where we send stuff from like spent plutonium rods and things like that. Anything that might have been used in warfare goes there. No, some of the spent plutonium, some of the spent rods also go to the WICA facility, the WIP facility. But anything that's weapons grade goes to Yucca Mountain. Yeah, and you know what's so funny about Yucca's Mountain? They got a plaque on it, and like every language on the planet, and all kind of other weird shit. In case we all die in 10,000 years, somebody goes in there. They want them to know, don't open it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they dig these tubes, and they cap the bottom with a clay cap, and they set this thing in. They cap the top with, I don't know, like 8 or 9 tins of these clay caps, and then they seal it. That's it. No, you ain't getting out of nothing now. They can't even explode. It's the way it's compressed in the clay. You couldn't even explode if it wanted to. Yeah, it holds it there really nice and tight. It's a good fix, whoever did it. But still, it's a big polluted place. Why don't we shoot that shit into the sun? Somebody said, why don't we shoot it on the moon? No, we don't need to shoot it on the moon. We're going to be living there one day. Shoot it in the sun. I mean, would it hurt the sun? I don't think so. As far as I know, it wouldn't hurt the sun. I'm not a nuclear physicist, but I would think the sun would eat it, melt it, disintegrate it.
Or turn it into some sort of temporary fuel.
Yeah, something like that. You mean Queensland is what you're talking. Queensland, Australia is an interesting place. There've been lots of UFO sightings out there. That one guy got in trouble. He did well. The guy from Area 51 got the idea from the guy from Queensland. He flew a Cessna in and landed it at Pine Gap.
Yeah, Pine Gap.
Yes, and was arrested and put away, and then finally they let him out. And then the guy did the same thing at Area 51. Well, it's funny because they could have shot him down, or maybe they couldn't have shot him down.
If he was a slow enough Cessna, they may not have been able to. You know.
Well, they say they didn't know he was coming because he was flying at 250 feet above.
Yeah, I was going to say he also flew in following the contour of the mountain, so a fighter jet would have a hard time finding him.
Man, that Area 51 should not be that accessible, man. A little, come on, he could have had a weapons grade bomb in there. All the good stuff is so far in the ground in Area 51. It wouldn't matter if they dropped a nuke on it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. I mean, anybody can go out and go around the gates and see it, and you can even sneak into the second gate if you're brave enough. If you get arrested, the guy in Rachel's it's going to cost you $750 to get out of here on Rachel, Nevada. Now, if you make it past gate 2, you're no longer under Nevada control. You are now under the military's control. And they can drop you in a deep, dark hole somewhere without even giving you anything, phone call or anything.
They can shoot you dead on sight and leave your body there to rot.
They can do that as well, too. It's a very dangerous game going beyond gate 2. You're at a top secret military base. You would know, they don't give a shit who you are. Just don't,
Well, until
most of the time they'll come in.
The base was completely denied by the U.S. government.
Oh yeah, and even after the case, it was still denying the damn thing. Everybody got it. Yeah, it's well, no. What do you mean, Kirby? No, you can go. Oh yeah, you can sneak in. You're not going to sneak in. So the way it's set up is everything is. There's so many sensors on this base. It's ridiculous. I mean, a lot of times you'll see the truck out there driving around at night. It's not because of you. It's probably some rabbit set off some sensor somewhere that they're out checking. Deer or something, yeah, cow or something, yeah. Anything that moves that sensor, they have to go check. And there's lots of them to be checking on. And, it's funny because when you go to one of the gates, I think there's 4 gates if I remember right. It's when you go to one of the gates, they'll check you out. As soon as you walk up to the gate, they got a binocular set up. It scans you. Right then and there, they knew who the hell you are. You better hope you're not even wanted by a Fed for something because they're going to come out the gate and arrest your ass right there. I wonder if they do that to illegal aliens. Have to find out about that. And that's a very interesting, but it always cracks me up because it says no drones, no fires, no that, and everybody goes out there and does it. Oh yeah, last time I was out there, guys were flying drones around and stuff. They're lucky they didn't get shot. because I think once they scan you, they know if you're a threat or not. And if you're not a threat, they probably let you get away with some stuff because you're not a threat. Yeah, you're not like some guy from Russia coming over to steal secrets or something. Besides, from gate 2 to the base is still a good distance. Oh yeah, they always, but they're. Oh, and then the girls at Little Alien told me they used to bring on Thanksgiving and on Christmas, they would bring food out there and leave it at the gate for these guys to eat, right? And these guys loved it. And then of course the base come unglued about it because they could be spies trying to kill off their gate people. No, you could tell who these people were. These people were not spies, but they made them quit doing it. So then they would call them and tell them that they were going to deliver it as an order, and then they kind of let them go back to doing it. Yeah, well, come on, it's the middle of nowhere.
I wouldn't eat that one damn thing that someone left at a gate there. You kidding me?
These are people who own a Little Alien Inn. These are good people. They're not going to do you nothing.
I don't know, dude. When you're that kind of job of security, you can't be vulnerable like that.
You're out there in the middle of nowhere. It's the only restaurant within like 300 miles in any direction. The base food sucks. Have I eaten at Little Alien? Yeah, a couple of times. They have pretty decent food. For being a little hole in a wall in the middle of nowhere. They're very chatty.
Alien-esque type of food, like Romulan fries, or
no, not really. But the whole place is covered in alien stuff. I guess some of the food names are alien names too. It was
a UFO burger.
Yeah, they probably got a couple of things like that. They do have other UFO drinks and things like that. It's the place is kind of cool. It's kind of fun to hang out in. It's a Little Alien Inn. It's in Rachel, Nevada. You could probably look up the menu. It's
probably online.
Yeah, it's but I don't know if that old lady's still out there anymore. She's pretty old last time I was out there, but and then everybody goes and puts a sticker on the. They got a couple of signs that say it's the extraterrestrial highway, right? And everybody goes and puts stickers on them. Every so often, they take them down and auction them.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out when they did that. Oh, I got a couple of them out there. I got my stickers on. It says icon. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, look, they cleaned it up some since last time I've been there. Look, it looks kind of pretty out there. Oh, good up. So where's the UFO at? They got a sauce. Oh, there it is. There's a truck with the UFO. Yep. He's out there hauling it in. It's if y'all are looking at this, guys, this is Rachel, Nevada, Little Alien Inn.
LittleAlienInn.com.
If y'all want to go check it out.
Gift shop, restaurant, bar.
I think we got a little hotel there or something. Yeah.
Oh, look, Michael, they're hiring. Let's go get a job.
Let's go, man.
When I tell you this place is in the middle of nowhere, this place is in the middle of nowhere.
It is in the middle of freaking nowhere.
They're trying to make a little town around it, so.
They got RV spaces.
But at the same token, Area 51's in the middle of nowhere, and I came in, I had to go to the restroom, so when I came in, I heard you guys talking about security. Whacking Hut runs the security, I think, at Gate 1, do they not? And can you imagine being whacked by Whacking Hut? Private security firm?
They got but I remember they had a little hotel there or something.
Yeah, it says hotel lobby too.
Toys for cops.
Nice.
And they're definitely pro cop.
Let's check out their food.
There it is, alien burger.
There you go, alien burgers. There we go. I don't remember what I ate when I was there.
Pickled green onions, but Joe doesn't want pickles on his burger.
Ooh, I tell you what, they got mad when I was filming inside though.
And their alien sauce.
It's the same as Big Mac sauce, except for it's gray.
I love some. You know what, man? A little place like that. I bet they got the best salads, coleslaw, macaroni. You know what I mean? If they make it themselves,
probably.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times. I do remember eating a burger there once.
So
I ate something else there that too.
Served until 11 a.m. Look, they got grits.
Grits,
man.
Grit? Come on, grits are delicious. What are you talking about? You don't know what a grit is.
Yeah, I like grits. They're fine.
Bacon.
No, grit. I guess they're okay. It depends who makes them, man.
Yeah. Don't use the boiled instant kind, people. It's nasty.
Ooh, green chili and cheese, man. I love green.
Oh, yum.
You got the Denver. Not a lot named after aliens, though, is there? I mean, I expected to see a lot of aliens.
Oatmeal? Come on.
Hey, man, it's middle of nowhere. I imagine it's cold there and hot there.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy I can deal with, but oatmeal, come on.
Biscuits and gravy.
Handhelds. There's your world famous alien burger, saucer
But
burger.
I didn't remember it being. Yeah, I didn't remember there being all that many names of UFOs on it. I think I had the roast beef when I was there.
Roast beef, turkey, BLT.
It's
hot dog, chili dog.
But Denise, this is the menu from the Little Alien Inn in Roswell, Nevada.
Hot dog.
Right down the street, right down the road. Matter of fact, so if you leave Alien Inn, you go out the backside. It's a gravel road you can follow down until it runs into a blacktop road. When it runs into a blacktop road, you take a right, and you just keep going. That blacktop road's eventually going to run out. It's a big, wide blacktop road, like it's for carrying a lot of stuff. Then all of a sudden, you're on a gravel road again. And then you're on a gravel road till you get to the gate, and then it's blacktop leaving behind the gate. Yeah, I think they do that to make you think that maybe you're not going to the right place.
You're heading the wrong way, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they missed an opportunity on that menu there, guys. That hot dog, no, you change that. You type in Alien Probe, boom.
There you go.
Yeah.
They got the Galaxy wrap.
Yeah, yum.
Yeah, I think my boy took us to 4 gates. Maybe it was 3, but I thought it was 4.
Chili, soup.
Yeah, go there, have lunch.
Oh, hey,
I can't tell you what the prices are now, but they weren't that bad last time I was there.
What do you guys call a sad strawberry?
Uh-oh.
You call
A happy
it a blueberry.
Oh, my God. Somebody shoot Jack.
I'm disappointed with the lack of pictures,
man. I know, huh? They must get whelps from his old lady all the time and shit like that.
No, I got that one from my doctor's office. They always have a dad joke written on the registration.
That's it. Man, they got all kind of alien stuff inside the place. I mean, you name it, it's in there. It's I left him a couple of things while I was there. I left him a little alien sign I got from when I was lecturing at the. Matter of fact, the reason I went the second time I went there is because I was in Utah doing a lecture, and I can't remember the damn name of this town. It wasn't that far away. It was about an hour and a half away from Rachel. You're only like an hour away when you're in Nevada.
There's a room. They got bed bugs in there.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay in the hotel.
That looks like a bed buggy room right there, man.
Is that rented by the hour, Michael? What's the price on that?
I don't know.
No, I doubt there's anything out there worth renting it for an hour for, but there you go. They get all comfortable and stuff. And
I don't know,
out.
it looks cozy, but I'll bet it's hot as hell in those little rooms.
There you go. That must be a queen room there or something.
That's the honeymoon suite.
This is the little hotel that's at Rachel. So if you're going down there, you're going to do some investigating. It's fun to go out at Area 51 at night.
Oh yeah,
it is. And what's even cooler about that,
Freedom Ridge, if you go up there.
What's even cooler than that is once you get back on the highway, the sky is fabulous.
Yeah,
it is just fabulous.
If you don't see a UFO, you will at least see a satellite fly overhead.
And a lot of planes flying into Vegas.
Isn't there an alien brothel out there? Some kind of weird.
Not there. That's Fallon, Nevada, my friend. Wrong place.
I remember seeing that somewhere.
Fallon, Nevada. That's where you got to go.
Oh my God.
They have alien girls there.
I'm not even going to question Joe.
Hopefully they're legally alien. We're not going to say why I know that answer. So remember, this is a PG-13 audience.
Yeah, that's why I said we weren't going to question you on it. But Friday, look out.
There's an extraterrestrial sign.
Hey, there's Bob's cousin Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Y'all need to get me that extraterrestrial sign. Whoever auctions it next time, y'all need to get that.
They have a billiards table. Awesome.
It's actually a nice little place. It's comfortable. The people are nice.
Did you sign $1 and stick it up there?
It's a great place to go UFO hunt. I doubt you're gonna really see anything, but you can go out and have some fun.
A U.S. Air Force or U.S. Space Force retro-engineered UFO.
Oh yeah. You might see some of that. You do see some weird. You don't see as much as you used to since they took in that second mountain range. I was talking to the people who worked out at Rachel, and they were telling me before they took in that second range, you could see stuff all over the place.
You can see the whole runway. You can still see parts of it from the third range out, but you can't see as much. But I think really what screwed the pooch is when Bob Lazar came out and explained that it was like every Wednesday night at 9:05 p.m. exactly is when the activity began. And when he got it on film a couple of times, that's when they rearranged the schedule. So there's probably a cascading time frame of when they send the UFO stuff up, but it still flies out of there.
But there was a lot of different times they were flying. Like I can't remember his name. Who's George Knapp? He was out there. They were going out different nights. They were flying. It said usually if it was after like 10 p.m., you could go out and see them. They were flying. You could just sit out there and watch them all night. And I guess mostly what I heard flying out of there was the TR-3s, the Auroras, stuff like that. Doesn't sound like anything extraterrestrial.
There's the alien.
You're making me hungry, you bastard. Get that off my damn screen. I'm getting hungry. God.
Nice fries.
Anyway, we got like 8 minutes, so let's get back to our topic. Besides Mike making me hungry,
alien food. Yeah, I just had.
He's no good bastard. Made me hungry. What's that, Pete? You can join us on Rumble. You can join us on YouTube. You can
Roku.
So we're getting ready to change up systems with Roku because of the pay-per-view system. I was on the phone with the guy actually earlier today. I got another call with them tomorrow. So the Roku system's going to change here. We'll probably be with this company. I forgot how long. However long it takes them to put up the new website, it's how long we'll be with this company. And after that, we'll be with the new company. I'm thinking we'll make it mandatory for all the shows or something along those lines. So,
hey, look, Michael, there's an alien cat.
What?
In that bank of pictures, there's an alien cat from the Alien.
Well.
So
it's a cool place.
I got a question. I got to ask you, Joe. So, do you think that not only do they abduct from this exact time frame, do you think they're going back in time still and abducting, going back for more DNA from the past?
We talked about that. Whoa, what happened?
I don't know.
I guess we all got knocked off the screen. Wait, what's going on?
We're getting probed.
I see that. It looks like we're getting probed seriously.
We're getting probed.
Wait. So it's okay. Something's getting squirrely.
Yeah, somebody is playing with the buttons.
Okay, let's try to fix it.
There it is.
Okay, there it is. Okay. No, I was trying to zoom in on Mike's hamburger, and I'm the one that did. I don't know what I did.
You did that, and then you screwed the pooch.
Yeah, I hit something up here at the top and clicked it out.
That looks like a cool place, like all those campy places.
Yeah, south the border over here on I-95, heading towards.
I'm being tortured by one of our hosts in here. It's
There's a burger. Look at that.
Look at strawberry rhubarb.
I know that's pretty good.
Hi.
So to get into this, so what's going to happen with this is this system is really nice. So it allows us to set up 3 different pay-per-views. There's the reason we're leaving this other system. So, like say that these two guys are up in Gettysburg and they're filming. It can actually be live and it can be only for pay for. And then that when it's done can be transferred to the system and only be paid for. Then we can have a section that's only paid for, and then we can have a section that's mixed and match, and then we can have the section that's in the field, and then we can have the section that's free. That's how that's going to work out. Now, as far as hosts getting on, we'll have to talk about that. I'll talk with Michelle about that over the next week or two, but we'll see how that's all going to work out. But it is going to be important for us to be on TV as a network. So, yeah. But anyway, one baby step at a time. Maybe we'll pawn Jay off so that can pay for everybody.
Here we go. As long as
We'll
she's
pawn
cute.
his ass to the aliens. No. We're pawning you to the Greys, man. Wait, hey, you know what? If the Greys are like what you were talking about earlier from Star Trek, you wouldn't know what they look like anyway. They'd just make you think this way.
See, now that's a Navajo burger. You stop on the road, so it's fry bread with 2 huge meat patties, all
It
the
looks like a
fixings,
gyro.
all
I
the
know it looks
fixings.
like a gyro to me too.
That thing is so big,
That's
I
a
guarantee
gyro.
you wouldn't be able to eat the entire thing.
You got a gyro on screen there, sir.
Yes,
That's like a
I'm,
couple days
I'm, I'm
worth.
agreeing with Jay. Denise, no. Well, no. So no, we're gonna add. We're on Winamp now. We're on Winamp right now. Actually, if that's what you. Yes, you just look in, type in UFO Paranormal Radio, and we're on Winamp. But we're going to be switching systems around. So this is going to be only Roku for a little while. Then we'll go back to adding Winamp in. And then there's a couple of different things we're going to be adding into the network. Of course, there's a Rumble if y'all want to visit us on Rumble. There's a couple of new things going on. So we want, for us, the idea is to get certain areas up to getting X amount of listeners. Certain archives we want to get up, certain places we want to get up. It'd be nice to get paid.
Yeah.
So by having these kind of pay views, like this young person in here texting me in the chat room. So let's say they went out and did an investigation, or let's say they went out and did a reading or something along those lines. So readings can actually be pay for listen or pay for view. So you can call in and get your reading, which you're going to have to pay for. And then if you people want to watch it, it'll cost you like $5 or $10 or $20, depending on what the reading is. So you can actually sit and watch someone else get their cards read. Not like on TikTok. It's a much different kind of thing than that is. Even though we'll probably be adding the TikTok channel in the next couple of weeks, it'll probably be into it too. It's just we're expanding, we're growing. It's a growing network. And the network's growing way faster than people realize, because there will be 2 networks. It'll always be one network. It always will be uprntalkradio.com. It will always be UPRN Talk Radio. That's really the network. But soon there will be a full version of UFO Paranormal Radio and a full version of United Public Radio. Oh yes.
And then in the future, when we head south, it'll be United Puerto Rico Radio.
Yes, no, it'll always be United Public Radio. Wherever we go, that's what it's going to be.
This is my favorite restaurant in Santa Fe, called the Santa Fe Bite.
Oh my God!
Well, we're glad to have you, sweetie.
Look at that juicy red burger.
You might up here. You have to put up with this in your chat. Like, see, we have a host with us in here, and she's like, "God, you're making me hungry, Michael. Stop that." It's but we're getting ready to get out of here.
Honestly, you got to see their carrot cake.
Hey, does this look like the chat to you? Better get that off my damn screen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like UFO abduction,
Yes.
but it looks
We got to train Michael what UFO acronym actually means.
UFO hunters eat too. You hear what I'm saying?
Most UFO hunters are fat. They need to be on a diet.
Okay.
We got a couple skinny ones like Jay, but most of them need to have their ass on a diet.
Hey, look here, Joe. I'm only skinny from here up. Down here,
Jason,
I'm not so skinny.
Oh, what's his name? Jason and Grant. Grant and Jason. That's Paranormal Taps.
Yep.
Well, it used to be Taps. Well, one of them bought a hotel. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the skinny one. I always get confused with them.
Grant, I believe, has
They've been on the network a couple of times. Oh, I upset one of them one time when they were on here because I told them, ghosties were dimensional bleed through.
Yeah.
He got, the other guy was laughing so hard. He said, he just did that to piss you off, right? He's like, no. He said, and then at the end of the show, he goes, did you do it? I said, yes, I did. I said, I don't really care where ghosties come from. I'm a UFO guy. He was like, oh, you were so wrong, man. That's like,
yeah, that's kind of wrong. Yeah.
It's he was being a little because he'd been on TV once or twice. He's being a little bit snotty. I've been on TV once or twice myself, so don't ever be snotty with me. That's a sure way to get your ass in trouble.
Hey, I was on the local version of Bozo the Clown with my friend in our Cub Scout.
You say that. My sister was on Popeye.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was like, Mom said, your sister's gonna be in Popeye. I was like, so jealous, man. So is it? My sister did all kind of stuff. Of course, she dressed up to graduate as a clown.
Yeah.
She's graduating college. I said, what are you doing? I'm gonna dress up like a clown. I'm like, I love her. That's my favorite sister. But
What did she? She didn't graduate from clown college. I'm taking it.
no, she graduated from real college dressed as a
Yeah,
clown. But that's just
dressed
how
up as
she
a
was.
clown.
Krista, what do you mean? I have 3 sisters. Yes. I
Well,
have one that was put up for adoption with a brother that was put up for adoption. I met about 10 years ago. I have an older sister from my dad's first wife and my sister from my dad's second wife. Yes. Now you happy? You know my whole damn stinking family affair now. Yes. What were you saying, Jay? I'm sorry. I mean, cut you off.
There's an interesting story we should talk on Friday about a young lady who graduated cum laude. I forget which university, but she admitted in her the whatever speech they give at the cum laude person, she admitted she smoked weed all through school, and then at the end of the graduation ceremony, they took away her law degree because she used drugs through the whole.
Oh, Jesus.
I got one worse for you. This last graduating class in America, all these colleges, a lot of these students said they had that chat bot do all their work for them, take the tests and everything, and they got.
I don't doubt that even a little bit. I don't doubt that
crazy,
even a little bit.
You're gonna have a whole generation of people that don't have any idea what they're doing.
So that's why certain places, so like in the Navy, like when you go to get your degrees, you actually have to go. That's not just the Navy. A couple of times, like when I went to get my bachelor's, I had to go up in front of the people, and they asked me questions. So, and same thing in the Navy. Every time I changed rank, I had to go up in front of a board, and they asked me questions. When I went to go get my construction license, my state license, I had to go up in front of a board, and they asked me questions. They wanted to make sure you actually knew what the hell you were talking about.
I did that 3 times for a 911. Same thing. You get through they have certain levels, and then the last thing is they're sitting in front of a panel of people who are judging you by your answers.
And that's the way it should be done. I mean, because there are a lot of dumb people. Matter of fact, I was watching this. I'm not gonna mention the name of the company. This was a big ass company yesterday. He said, I had to go to my boss today and tell him that young people don't want to work. I was like, that's every year, but young people. He said, no. He said, no, I know what you're going to say. Young people in all generations. He said, no, not like this. He said, Z-Geners don't think they should have to work. And he said, and they think they should get paid for just laughing and looking at their cell phone. I don't know where they got that idea from. They're going to starve if that's what they believe.
Ain't no free rides around here, bud.
No, work has to get done. Things have to get done. I know, Marcy. Actually, we will... if I'm pretty sure what's coming up next is Michelle Zosier. Out of realm. Let me see if I got her up here. And maybe sometimes I got her on screen. She likes to put hers up early.
Said about the youth not working. There are quite a few young kids at my job that do work their butts off. But I'm 59. I'm pushing 60. Next year, I'll be 60. This year, I turn 59.
Damn, you are old, man.
Work circles around some of these 20-somethings, and it shouldn't be that way. Young people should outwork anybody 30, 40 years their senior. Always. But it's not the case.
Jenny says, you are old. He's as old as dirt, baby. Don't worry. I know the feeling. I know how it is. He's like, shh. Yeah, he was here before the moon was.
That's why I've heard about the stories.
That's right. That's why you knew about damn stories. What's that, Celine?
That's why he's very wise. He's very wise because he's got years of experience in this godforsaken world.
I am not the best, but if you have me on your trivia team on trivia night at the bar, we will place. Especially the Star Trek trivia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So coming up next is the Outer Realm. I believe she has on. I shouldn't say he. She has on Laura Lee and Caroline. Carrie Lynn and Laura Lee's on with her tonight. Yes. Yes, they both have they host together and they both have their own shows. Yeah, one. Yes, they have their own shows. Well, if you don't know what their shows are, shame on you. You should know what all our shows are on our damn network. Yes, every damn one of them. Oh, you only know my shows? Well, I give you 5 points for that, but still, you should know what all these shows.
Is it Sean Hazlitt? It might be Sean Hazlitt tonight.
Oh, is it? Oh, it might be. Well, I know she's got both sets coming on.
There it is. Grand Canyon, Antarctica, Carrie Lynn, and Lorelei Pott. Yeah, so they're talking about giants, the Grand Canyon, Antarctica, Tartaria. That's a new one for me, actually. And so that should
and
be a good show.
tomorrow is Sean Hazlitt. Yes,
Yeah.
he hosts his own show. Yeah, Darkly. I mean,
Sean Hazlitt is also very well knowledgeable about this subject. I've watched several of his
Yes.
shows.
so he's a lot of fun to talk to. No,
Yeah.
he's got his own show. No,
Yeah.
he used to do some work with us, but his wife said knock that stuff off. Yeah, some bet you hurt him. Even though he used to drive tanks, she still think it was going to hurt him. So it's sometimes you just better off not getting hurt. That's all I can say. But we got to go. No, she'll be up here in a few minutes, so y'all go check her out. And Carrie Lynn and Laura Lee and Michelle DeRoche. She's the queen. Damn it, stop. She's the Elvira of Canada. That's what I always say. I don't know where you got that other shit from. She's the matter of fact, I was just telling a damn TV producer today she was the Elvira of Canada. You mean you're talking about Fire Stick? So you can get this show. So there's 3 shows on Fire Stick right now because I pay for it. It's this show, Friday night, and the chat are all 3 on. Well, Mike sneaks on sometimes because I leave it on, but those shows are all on Fire Stick. Yes.
Yeah, and people can tune in Saturday, 10:30 to my show. I'll be talking about the Dark Trinity, man. Before Satan, it was the Dark Trinity. And apparently these were space, whatever you want to call them, angels came down and then they balanced things out. Very interesting story, man.
And
Sounds
before
fun.
that will be the chat with all of us.
Yes, with all of us cutting. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, the chat is the largest archive and the largest live audience on this network by far. It even beats out this show, which is hard to beat this damn show.
We rule, and we're giving away Tootsie Rolls on this.
Well, yes. So Friday night, before we go, we got 2 minutes. Before we go, Friday night, we will be talking about Tootsie Roll Man. We will be talking about him and whatever his final charges are. I hear he's going to get off on one of them, but he's going to get on other ones. But we're talking about him. But see, on the chat, we're going to talk about him, but in a different way. Oh,
you don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. That's exactly what I said was going to happen because I know
you said he was getting off. You beeping. You're out of the ring.
I said that he wouldn't get more than 5 years.
You said he was getting
I said
off.
that he would not. Let's replay the show. No heavy charges.
That's right.
No heavy charges. And I said he wouldn't get more than 5 years. And federal court runs. They don't run consecutive. They run concurrent. So concurrent, they're side by side. Whatever time he gets, if he gets time, they got him on the prostitution. And
he did say that.
That's enough of this.
He'll be able to get because Jay and
I said the only way he was doing hard time is if they got him for racketeering. They didn't
you
get
said he was going for the rest of his life, going to do the hot squats in Laguna.
No, you get me confused with your buddy, my friend. I know exactly what I said.
We had Tom on the show.
We got to go, guys.
We got to go because they're on.
We're going to run into Michelle's town now. So anyway, guys and girls, you can come here and fight about this on Friday night. It'll be a good show. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, it's going to be crazy.
And actually, he's going to be very
it's 4th of July, so it's going to be a patriotic show.
Yes,
We've got a Trump music video. It's going to blow.
He's going to be a small part of the show, literally. I mean, he'll be 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the show, but he may be an hour. Nah, not 30 minutes, but the rest of the show, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about.
4th of July show,
and there's a lot of other stuff to talk about.
It's going to be live.
It will be 4th of July, so there'll be a lot of patriotic stuff going on as well. Even the breaks will probably be patriotic, so get ready for that.
To shoot our guns in the air because we're American.
Now, before we leave, remember for the chat, bring your own topics. You can send it to anyone. It doesn't matter what guy you send it to or what girl. You can send it to anybody who's hosting, or you can pop in the room with us. If you're brave enough, we will let you come hang out with us in the room. On that note,
bring your own tacos too, because we're not.
Yes, bring it up for everybody.
Oh man, we're out of here now, guys. Jesus Christ. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. Michelle DeRoche is coming up next with Carrie Lynn and Laura Lee. I'll go check them out. It's going to be a lot of fun until Friday. Get ready. Good night.
Joe and Michael need to eat.
Yes,